Hello, everyone, and this is Stanpai once again with another interview with, frankly, a worldwide superstar, though he may not have known it for a very long time. My friend, please tell us who you are.
Well, my real name is Danny Resko, and recently I just found out that I'm also called Kazuya.
Right on, man. So, in your own words, what is your understanding of that, of what you just told me?
Oh, wow. Well, I'll go back to the start then. I about a month and a half ago, I just decided I was at work and I was bored. I decided to check online and just go through some of my old names, see if anything popped up on the internet. So one of the names I went by was Danny Lee. So I punched in Danny Lee, and I got uh, an article from Reddit, the application Reddit, and it said something along the lines of Danny was supposedly passed away, but we found him alive, and his real name's Danny Resko. And I went, "What? Danny Resko? It's me." And it went into a little bit about this Kazuya character, and I guess in some of the videos that I did in the past, and so I just kept reading it, and then it went into about Billy Harrington. He was also a friend of mine, so I remembered the video I did with Billy. I said, wow, I got to search more. So I searched the Kazuya, and I came across a bunch of videos, which I don't really understand, but there were images of me, and I was kind of surprised, kind of delighted, kind of just amazed at what I found.
Well, like I was saying before we started, it's kind of amazing, and in the best of ways that you took this in such stride. Because I can imagine, especially for people who left that sort of thing in the past or whatever, there's such distance between them now and the stuff they did then. So I'm really glad that it didn't upset you, but it actually put a smile on your face, as confusing as it may be. So
It,
so,
it,
so I guess, yeah. The first and foremost, I do want to know. You said what the sort of thoughts were going through your head when you came across this stuff? I mean, besides it being strange, cool, and funny, like what were you thinking? What were you feeling? I really want to get a hand on that.
well, there was one video that it was basically like a biography on me, and it had where I went to public school in Toronto, Canada. It had a picture of the school.
Wow.
I haven't seen the school myself in 20 years, and that was a picture of the school. I went to university in Toronto, so they had a picture of my university. They had where I played hockey. They just had certain things about me growing up where, I've been kind of disconnected from for a long time, and it was kind of really nice to see that somebody even put that together on my behalf, or if they just want to do it for themselves. But it was kind of nice to see.
Right on.
So I was kind of shocked, and when I seen that, I was like, "Wow!" This and some of the videos that I seen, the little clips of videos, I've never seen them before.
Right.
I recorded them, but I never seen them played back to me. I've never seen some of the outtakes on some of the videos. So this is all new to me. This is like watching myself in the past, 20, 30 years. And it's just kind of, it put a smile on my face.
That's
It was nice to
fantastic.
see.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad that it was a positive experience for you. So you mentioned a little bit about your background, where you came from. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? It's like, tell us about the background of Danny Resko, Danny Lee Kazuya. Where does he come from?
Okay. I was born and raised in Toronto, Canada, and I grew up there, went to school there. And in Canada, as most of you probably know, the big pastime is hockey. So I played hockey all the way up from when I was 5 years old till I was 20. And in Canada, I played semi-professional hockey. And then once I finished that, I actually was in university, and I wanted to make some extra money. And I had a friend that did the exotic dancing thing. So I thought, oh, maybe I can make some extra money at night. And so he kind of taught me the ropes, and I went and did some amateur nights, and I started doing that. And then that caught on pretty quick. And I started making a little bit of money. It was fun. So I started doing that. And after a while, I I thought about coming down to California, and I had an opportunity to come down to California and shoot for Playgirl magazine. And that was kind of a big thing when I was dancing, because that gave me a little bit of a title, a little bit of a credential, like from Playgirl magazine, bringing out. And actually, my dancing name was Danny Dallas. It's different than Danny Lee, but anyway. So I came down to California, and I did the Playgirl thing. And I came down in November, December. It was winter time in Canada. It was cold. And I came down to California. I was in Hollywood for 2 weeks in the sunshine, in the nightclubs, and I just loved it down here. I thought California was just awesome. So I went back to Canada after I did Playgirl magazine, and I stayed there for probably 6 months. And then I got in my car and drove down to California. I thought I'd come down for like 6 months or so, stay down here, see how I liked it. And I've been here ever since.
Never left. That's crazy.
Never left.
Yeah, man. So, so how does that kind of evolve into some of those films you ended up working on? You know, you mentioned you had the opportunity to do the stuff with Playgirl, and how did that evolve into everything you were in?
Yeah, so I was dancing down here in California, and actually one of my agents in Canada, they worked for Can-Am Entertainment, and that was who was doing the wrestling videos at the time. So he actually flew down from Toronto to California to start shooting some wrestling videos. So of course he contacted me because I was living here at the time. And he said, "Hey Danny, can you come and shoot a video, for me?" And I asked him what kind of video it was. He said it was a wrestling video. I said, yeah, that's no problem. And they offered a day or two classes of teaching wrestling, how to fall and this and that, how to some moves. So I said, sure. So I came to, so I went into, I think it was in Los Angeles. I went down and did the class for a couple of days, and we shot the video. And he asked me if I'd like to shoot with anybody in particular. I mentioned Billy. Billy was a friend of mine, and he was fairly popular already, so it worked out great that way. So it was actually a connection from Canada that came down to California to shoot that wrestling video. And the other videos, like the Junkyard Boys, that was with another gentleman who was running a couple nightclubs in Los Angeles, who I was dancing with. And he said, "Danny, would you like to do a video?" It's just it was extra money. It was just a little bit of icing on the cake. Go there and, shoot for a day or two. And that's what I did with him as well. So it was all basically rooted from the dancing business.
Right. That was your springboard.
Yeah.
Very cool. And
then that's how I did a few videos here and there. And those were kind of just icing on the cake and a little extra money at the time. And I've some of them I've never seen.
Right. So like you said, this is the first time you're seeing them now, and in these crazy edits, no less. So
that's right.
So I guess that's a good jumping point to ask about how you met Billy. Then, how did you come across Billy Harrington back in the day?
I believe it was at the gym.
Yeah,
I believe it was at Bally's Total Fitness. We were working out there, and I believe I can't remember how it was, mutual friends or what it was there. But I think he wanted to get into the dancing business more. Anyways, we became friends that way. And we stayed friends, although in the last 10, 15 years, I haven't really talked to him much. So I didn't know what he was doing with his character there in Japan or whatever. I know he was doing something with it now after the fact. But so we stayed friends, but we just didn't keep in touch for the last 10, 15 years.
Got it. So I think that's kind of an amazing revelation, the fact that you picked him to be in that video with you, and that's the video that started it all. I mean, it really is. It's the definitive most important video is the video of you two wrestling. That's, if without that video, none of this other stuff would have happened. And you cast that video, man. That's insane. That's insane. I mean, that's I don't think anybody would have known that if not for this moment. And that's. And
I've never seen the whole video. The only pieces of the video that I've seen are the pieces on the Japanese website.
Right, and like I said, I mean, they are such an instrumental piece of the whole entire culture. Just all those clips of you breaking his back and karate chopping him and stuff. I mean, they've been used in so many different amazing ways that it's amazing. So the origin story, we finally know how that came to be. That's so cool. So I'm sorry, I'm still laughing about it. It's so funny to me. So I guess you guys were friends, but what was it like working on the set together on something like that?
Well, since we were buddies, it flowed really. It flowed nicely. There was no problems. We were just goofing around.
Right.
I'm not even sure what some of the things we said to each other, but just kind of conning each other on, and and doing some wrestling moves. It was all fun. And I believe part of it was a workout.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Right.
Part
Yeah.
of it was a
I
workout
believe the first
session.
half of it, you guys are working out, and then I guess some escalates a little bit. You're like, fine, let's go settle this in the ring a little bit.
Right. Yeah. So it was good, and yeah, there was no problem working with Billy. At least it was somebody I was familiar with and a friend of mine. So
Right.
that didn't make it strange at all.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So and I mentioned this to you before when we first started talking. A big part of why the video became popular was not just what was going on, but it was because of what you guys were saying to each other. And each of you have an accent from different places. So he's saying, "Come on, college boy," and to the Japanese they hear "chaos boy." Or you say two could play it, and the Japanese hear "shi pori." Like, what does that mean? They just started making up words, and it sounded like in Japanese. So, when I spoke with Van Darkholm, he was telling me that a lot of the time there's no plan with those kind of videos. The audio it's just you just improvise. Is
That's
it
right.
much the same for you as well?
Yeah, there was nothing told to us to say. There's no script. They just said, "Go have some fun with it, guys." So when you're telling me what I said, I
You don't even know.
barely remember saying it, but I
Right.
remember saying it.
It's in the
So
moment.
it's weird.
You're just going through the motions of this wrestling thing, and so what I mean. You mentioned you did like the wrestling class and whatnot for the video.
Yeah.
Did you have any prior wrestling experience at all?
No, nothing at all.
None.
No, I didn't do wrestling in high school, anything like that. And the wrestling classes, they were kind of cool. They taught us, how to do pile drivers, how to throw the guy against the ropes. They taught us a lot of stuff that we didn't actually do in the video.
Right.
Because we're both bigger guys, and the guys we were wrestling at in the class were smaller, so a little bit easier to throw around. But, yeah, they taught us a lot, and it was good. They taught us how to fall, and I can't remember actually what Billy and I's wrestling match looked like. I can't remember what moves we actually did on each other.
I'll have to show you.
I think it was more flexing and
yeah, that's a lot of that.
Right.
A lot of that. A couple of submissions and
right.
The ball grab is very iconic. That's a very iconic one.
Right.
Like I said, the pulling on his back and telling him you're going to break his arms is very iconic, and the ball. Right. Those are probably the two most iconic scenes: are the ball grab and the arm breaker. And the third one would probably be you doing like a karate chop thing onto his back. But people have edited that into so many ways. I mean, it's just.
I seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
That is crazy. So I mean, we talked a little bit about those experiences, but I mean, let's talk about you behind the. Actually, let's start with Junkyard Boys. Then we'll talk about your personal experiences. So, what was the background on Junkyard Boys and that part and everything that you remember about it? Because it's been so long.
Okay, Junkyard Boys. It was done at a junkyard in Los Angeles, and and we were supposed to have a water gun fight in the middle of the summertime around a junkyard. So we were told to go hide around the cars, and we play like basically a laser tag in this junkyard, right?
Yeah.
And we show off a lot of muscle and strip down. And like I said, it was icing on the cake when I was dancing. I thought, sure, I'll kill a day in the sun and get a suntan and go around and squirt water guns. And it was good. It was a good experience. The guys were all really cool. I didn't really bump into many of the guys afterwards, although I knew they were in the business doing their own thing. But and that was also done with a gentleman that also ran a couple of nightclubs in LA. And we danced at them. So that's how I knew him. So he was doing also, I believe it was Campfire Video. And so he was part of that. So when he did that, he asked me to go in there and play around in the junkyard for a day.
Right on, man. So, and I mean, obviously you guys had a blast.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
No sunburn out in the California sun, So I guess, especially having worked in, as a dancer and in these films and in all of those different parts of the adult industry, what can you talk about the adult entertainment industry, what it was like for you in that time period and just being in as a performer in that world?
Okay. So when I came down to California, I was working in Toronto, dancing up there. And one of the guys that I danced with up there, he also came down to California with me. And he became a director and a producer in the adult business.
Right.
So the way that I got in there was I didn't really want to do any sex scenes.
Sure.
So I said, hey, so I asked my buddy, I said, listen, if you have anything that I can do, an extra, or I can be in the background somehow, I said, give me a call. I'll come and hang out with you for the day.
Right on.
So he said, okay, sure, I'll do that. And so I've done a few things in there. Most of it is background work, or where I'm either, at the time I had a large snake, so I took the snake on set. One time I blew fire, so I blew fire on set. One time I had a Navy officer, so I was part of a Navy ship on set. And so I did these little background things here and there. And then I believe it was him that hooked me up with Shishi LaRue for a couple of videos. And they were just soft core, basically, you know what I mean? And I did a couple with her. They were fun too. They were good. She always treated me really well. And like I said, that was just the icing on the cake to make a little extra money. And I didn't get into it too deep. I just kind of went and did my thing, dancing, and then every once in a while I'd go do a video or something just for some fun.
Right on, man.
Yeah, so it was good.
Yeah, I mean, you were performing. You were doing the thing.
Right.
You were doing the California thing. You know.
That's right. Exactly.
That's very cool, man. So I guess outside of the entertainment world, outside of the career doing that, what are some of your interests? Like, you know, you as a person, because I think that's always been hidden behind the character. Nobody really knows you. You know.
Yeah.
So you got Captain America.
Yeah, I do like working out, so I work out a lot. I played hockey, although I don't play hockey here in California. But when I first did come to California, I did teach hockey. So I taught hockey to youngsters, ice hockey. And so I continued that for a little while. But basically out here in California, I'm a big car guy, so I love cars. So I go to a lot of car shows, work on my car a bit, and anything outdoors. I like to do anything outdoors. I like to go to the beach. I like to camp. I like to ride my dirt bike, which right now I don't have one, but when I have one, I love to ride. I like to go off-roading, that type of thing. I'm pretty much an outdoors guy.
Right on, man. I mean, that's, and as far as career-wise, outside of, once you were, you know, still doing the dancing and all this stuff, like, what else did you work on? You mentioned you taught hockey for a bit.
Yeah, I taught hockey for a little bit. And then after the dancing, I got into real estate. And I was doing mortgages in real estate. And that was going well. And then came 2009 when everything,
right,
you know, went down.
The crash.
Yeah. And so at that point, I stopped doing mortgages. I got into real estate sales. And to tell you the truth, I didn't really do that good in real estate sales. I didn't have a knack for it. I enjoyed it, but I don't think I had the sphere of influence that I needed, you know, to get into that. I need a big sphere of influence. Of course, everybody I knew growing up in high school and university, they're all in Toronto.
Right.
So I never grew up here. So it's like the only friends I had here were my dancing friends.
Right.
And sometimes they're not the best crowd for a sphere of influence.
Right.
You know, so the real estate didn't go that well. And about 5 years ago, I actually tried moving back to Canada I was going to move back there permanently. And I sold most of my belongings here in California. And I packed up my car and what I had left in U-Haul and went back to Canada. And it was in the springtime, so I knew that'd be the best time to go there. And I lasted till January 1st, basically, when the winter kicked in. And I just couldn't bear with the winters there. It was so cold and so miserable. And I had an opportunity to come back to California, and I got in my car with what I could pack in my Corvette at the time and drove back down. That's all I had. So it's basically like starting over again.
Right.
So one of the things I appreciate about seeing these videos is, like I said, I drove back down here with everything in my car. You know, only things I could bring in my car were clothes.
Right.
And I don't have any videos, any pictures, anything of my past, nothing. So to see these videos, you know, online about myself and just from the past really brought back some good memories. And it was really nice to see them all.
That's
which
fantastic.
I probably would have never seen them again.
Right. No, I mean, this is one of those things. I've had this conversation with a number of different people, but, you know, especially with the adult entertainment industry, because of the way it gets stigmatized by a lot of people, you know, it gets seen in a negative light, or it gets covered up, you know, it gets forgotten or whatever. For a lot of the people in it, you know, things don't go so well after the fact. And
Yeah.
so one of the things I really love about these, and it seems like it did the same thing with you, is it one, it recontextualizes a lot of it. So instead of it being, you know, this dirty underworld thing, it becomes like this fun, you know, kind of hilarious and positive thing. And when I spoke with Shishi LaRue, actually right after Billy had passed, I made a brief video about, you know, about Billy passing away, and Shishi reached out to me because, you know, saw the video and said, you know, and I asked for, we did the interview, and in it explained that because of the Aniki character, you know, and the expectations and the fans and the positivity around it, you know, it was like a good reset for him to see that stuff in a different light, and to make it a positive thing that he could really embrace and be Aniki. He could be everyone's older brother figure, you know?
Right.
And so, and it sounds like for you, I mean, it's your yearbook, it's your scrapbook, you know?
It is.
You get to reconnect with those magical days in the sun,
That's right.
quite literally. So, yeah.
And it's funny. It's weird you say that, because when I seen actually somebody text me. I guess it was, I don't know if Billy has a sister or who it was. Somebody from Billy's family text me saying, "Hey, Danny, I just wanted to let you know that Billy passed," and it sent me a copy of the obituary. So of course I read the obituary, and it mentioned in there, what's his name again?
Aniki?
Yeah, Aniki. It mentioned Aniki, meaning big brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it mentioned that he had gone and he embraced the Japanese culture and Aniki character. And I kind of went, Aniki character, what's that all about?
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was.
Right.
And then I happened to look in my Facebook messages, and I had a message from Billy from about a year and a half ago, which I had never seen. Okay. And it was Billy saying, "Hey, Danny, Billy here, contact me. I'm in Japan, money making opportunity. Give me a call." And that was a message that I didn't see for a year and a half. This was after he passed. I seen the message, and I was like, "Oh my God, I got to look on Facebook messages more often." But I seen that he embraced the culture, the Japanese culture. He embraced that character, and I was always curious. And then when I seen all this about myself, and then I kind of put the two and two together, and that's what he was talking about, was the character from all the videos. So I know Billy embraced it. I know he probably loved it, and he had a good time with it before he passed.
Yeah, he definitely, from everything that he shared and said and got to do and talk about, you know, it was a very positive thing for his life.
Right.
You know, while you did not get in the loop on that stuff until now, you know, you kind of missed the golden age, but you know, there's a tremendous amount of international support and love for you and him and so many others, but particularly you two, because I guess now I can give you a little bit more of the background. You've read it online, but I mean, they're just some of the things that I've picked up, you know, observing this over the years. So first and foremost, I mean, your characters are like lifelong rivals, best friends, but also kind of best enemies, you know, and you know, equal rivals in this world of wrestling, you know, and you know, it's just, there were so many videos because you know, the irony of it all, you know, he didn't know that you were still alive. There was a misconception somewhere, and he, you know, he had heard that you had died, and that's where a lot of the confusion and why people didn't really look for you, because they, including him, thought that you had died.
That must have been after the message he sent me.
Right, yeah, because once he found out, I remember he was very apologetic about it. He's like, "Listen, guys, you know, I didn't know that he was alive. I had heard that he had died, and like, I didn't mean any ill will when I said that stuff. Like, I just didn't know, you know." So, and then after that is right around it matches up with when he messaged you. You know, once he found out you were still out there, it changed you know, his perspective, and then he reached out. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of there are a lot of videos thematically. If you follow the storyline of these videos, these crazy Gachimuchi videos, a lot of them involve Billy like missing you because you're gone, you know, and they're about him thinking of the days gone by when you guys were, you know, wrestling and fighting and rivals, and then now you know you're gone somewhere, whether it's who knows what. And so it's like this.
Did I ruin the story?
I mean, it's you know, in a weird way, and not in a disrespectful way. It's like, you know, you're alive, you know, and even though he's passed, it's like you emerge from the, you know, I'm still here, you know. It's kind of like, you know, it's bittersweet, you know. It would have been amazing to get a rematch, and I guarantee you that's what he was calling you about. You know, to have,
It could have been.
I imagine it without a doubt, some event in Asia where you two would have been on the mat, you know, having round two, and
That's great.
you know, that would have absolutely, it would have been like a title fight between two old legends. You know, that's but in this universe, it would have been that. I mean, really, you know, and it's just such a unique thing. But like I said, so many of the videos over time became the idea of you know, his buddy, his friend, his rival, you know, he's not here anymore, and I miss him and I think of him, and you know, oh, like that's the way people interpreted it, you know, and told the story. And you know, it's just, it really is kind of incredible the way history turned out. You know, you've returned, and you know, so I guess this is a good time to ask this. I mean, you know, if there are events out there that, you know, especially with the world being as it is now, but I mean, if there are events out there, would you be interested in going out and meeting the fans and being a part of that stuff?
Yeah, I'd definitely be interested in it. Yeah, I would definitely keep an open mind.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing up to now has been kind of astonishing to me. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'll go with the flow.
Yeah.
Even putting that quick YouTube video out and stuff, and seeing the type of interest and type of comments that I got.
Right.
All the comments were positive, which I couldn't believe. I expected some negativity.
Yeah.
And I got nothing but nice, everybody from Thailand and Japan, especially Switzerland, Australia, giving me, you know, saying nice things, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, it's like I said,
nice to know that somebody's thinking about you.
absolutely. And it's weird to say, like, you know, your face, your dance, whatever it is, has been on so many different people's screens, you know. I mean, you think about all those old videos that everybody's seen, whether it's the dancing babies or who knows what over the years, you know, and yours is on the list, but it started in Japan rather than in the West.
Right.
You know, that's where your fame was kind of born.
And that's great because back when I was dancing, you know, we didn't have the cameras with the videos and everything, so I never took a lot of videos. Yeah, you always think that part of your life will never end, but it does. And of course, I don't have videos of it, so it's kind of nice to look back and I see like the Navy officer video or the Conan the Barbarian video. I'm like, wow, I get to see that one more time. It brings back some good memories.
We know we have, when we create these kind of videos, because I've made some myself. I've talked with so many different people who make them. You know, a lot of it is about what are the mysteries, the treasure trove is when we find a new video featuring our favorite actors, you know. And one of the ones I think of with you is like you're a vampire or something. You got like long hair and you're in like a purple suit or something.
Oh, you're digging deep.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like that's like a rare example of a video that nobody really sees, but it exists. Someone has a little piece of it, and it's in the folder somewhere.
You know, that was a legit B movie.
Really?
That was called Blonde Heaven.
Blonde Heaven.
Blonde Heaven, and it was with, oh boy, what was her name? She was from Playboy magazine. Can't remember her name, but that was a legit B movie, and that was the first movie I ever did, and it was an experience. I went to the taping, and I didn't know much about it. I was supposed to read the script and everything. I didn't know much about it. I thought we were going to read the script and do a little testing before we shot. And I went there for the shooting, and I hadn't read the script yet. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in so much trouble. But got through the movie, and I've never seen any clips from the movie or anything. And I believe I seen a clip from one of the, what do you call it, the mimes?
The Gachimuchi videos.
Yeah, I've seen a clip from it on one of those videos, and I thought that was incredible.
Yeah.
So that was great. And then one of the other little clips from the videos was when I was on set with my buddy from Toronto. He was in the video too.
Yeah.
And it was when I had long hair, and he put my head through the window of the car.
Yeah.
And that was the buddy that I came down with from Toronto, Canada. He was the producer of the actual movie that I was in, and he was standing right beside me. So it was kind of funny to see him in it as well as myself.
Right. Yeah, the people from the past with you.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man. It's like I said, when I think about all these videos, and the reason I think it's so positive and why people have nothing but good things to say to you, one, because the videos, like I said before, they're always fun, you know.
Right.
Who's going to complain about something that's done in good spirit, that's done positively? And for a lot of people as well, and one of the reasons that Billy was so successful and beloved overseas and here is that for a lot of people, these videos have been like a distraction from how wicked the world can be. You know, you're sitting there, you got to go to work, you got to deal with this, maybe money's tight, something happened, you don't know. But then you come home and you just put something ridiculous on TV. And in this case, you know, that's really where it comes down to, you know. And
I noticed that in a lot of the comments that people said to me. No, they said to me such things as you helped me get through my high school years,
right,
or you got me working out when I was younger, or you got me through some hard times. I'm like, what?
Right.
You know, I haven't even seen these videos, but I guess, you know, if they did any good at all, that's great.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see all the positive feedback.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and that's really the big thing, you know. And like I said, I'm also really glad that it was nothing but positive for you when you found it, because for me too, I mean, I've said this before in every one of these conversations I've had with everyone else involved in these things. You know, I've been through my dark times, and when I was feeling awful, they put a smile on my face because it's just so funny, you know,
right,
and so absurd, and it would motivate me to make some myself and motivate me to go out and start interviewing people like you know, because I like to give back the same way it was given to. It's just full circle thing. Right. You know, it's best to put goodness in the world, and I think as much as people would have trouble believing it when you try to say, yeah, you know those softcore videos, yeah, well they're, you know, they helped so many people through dark times, you wouldn't believe it, you know. It's hard to believe, but it's the truth, you know. Right on, man. Well, is there anything that you'd like to say to your fans that have been waiting in the long years for what they thought would never come, the return of Kazuya?
I would just like to say, you know, thank you for all the positive feedback. And I'm glad if I did any good in any way in your life. I said, I'm glad for it. And thanks again for saying all the nice comments and thinking of me once in a while and just being supportive. I appreciate it. And it's been a fun journey so far. I've only known about it a month and a half, but it's been a good month and a half. So thank you.
That's fantastic, man. Thank you for that. And I guess the last thing I'd like to ask is there, where can people find you? You mentioned you have a YouTube channel. You know, how should people kind of get connected or, you know, follow your stuff? Where should they look?
Probably YouTube is the best thing. I'm not overly social media savvy, but I'm getting there with the help of you. And I'm gonna, you can follow me on YouTube and, you know, send me a message. And believe it or not, I check every single message, read every single comment. And if they ask me to comment back or they ask me a question, I find the time to, you know, answer the question or comment back because I love to hear from them.
Right on, man. That's fantastic. Well, I guess before we wrap it up, do you have any crazy questions about all this stuff you've experienced? Has anything been just sitting in your mind like, I got to know what that's about?
Oh, boy. You know, you've helped me out, Stan, in the past couple of weeks that we've been talking. You helped me out a bunch right at the beginning, especially because I talked right off the beginning. It was through YouTube, right?
Yep.
We hooked up, and you know, I just started drilling you with questions.
Yeah.
You just explained it all to me, which was great because I had no idea what was going on.
Right.
And, no particular questions right now.
Yeah.
I probably will have in the future. You and I will keep in touch.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And anybody who does have questions for Danny, of course, leave them on my video, on his video, wherever. We'll we'll follow up. But yeah, in fact, when I think about it, the first time I messaged you on Facebook was when people found out you were alive, and it was, like I said, it was probably the same time when Billy messaged you. And because one of the concerns we had was, you know, you've experienced it. There's some kooky stuff in this community, you know, fans of all types. So my big concern was, oh man, this poor guy does not know what's about to happen, because you had no warning, and everybody was immediately trying to contact you and reach out to you. And this was when we found out you were alive, but you didn't see it until recently. But you know, so I had an old message in your inbox.
Way long ago.
Yeah, the first time I messaged you was around the same time I think Billy messaged you. If you go back to our beginning of our conversations, before you and I talked, there's an old message when I tried to basically do the exact same thing I did when I talked to you this time, was tell you, like, this is crazy.
I think I remember.
Yeah.
And you told me that I was popular over in Japan or something. Is that right?
Yeah.
And I said, what are you talking about? This guy's crazy.
Yeah. Well, there it is. I mean, now you know.
Wow.
So, you know,
there's been little hints of it along the way in the past 5-10 years, little hints here and there, but I never believed it. Like on Facebook, I get requested a lot of friend requested, a lot of people from Japan. I just thought it's some scam. Right. Somebody's trying to scam me. So I didn't know. So I've had a lot of friend requests from there, I guess. And then I remember talking to you a long time ago. And that's funny. We reconnected like that. And so there's been little breadcrumbs of you know, this Jumachi, right?
Gachimuchi.
I was close. Gachimuchi.
You'll learn it.
I know, along the way, but I just didn't pick up on it until I seen the ad about a month and a half ago. So I'm glad I finally picked up on it. Maybe too late, but glad to pick up on it now.
That's fantastic, man. Well, thank you so very much for taking the time to have this talk. I'm thrilled. I mean, I've said this before. This is making history. You've never done an interview of anything about this, so yeah, this is really insider stuff for people to finally know more about you. And that's real cool, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stan. I appreciate you too.
Yeah, man. Real pleasure. Alrighty. Well, once again, everybody make sure to follow our resident Kazuya, Danny Resko. He's here. He's still here. And he's reading every comment. So make it count. And take care, everybody. Thank you so much, Danny.
Thanks, bud.